You know that in the medical device business, it's a business for the brave and the well-funded. And you can be really innovative and really creative, and you can have great technology, but if you don't have the funding, you're not going to get there. And I have this conversation with a lot of folks, whether they're investors, board members, or management, and I say, look, here's the basics. It's going to take you $50 million. I mean, if there's anything that's worthwhile or any idea that's worthwhile in a reasonably large size market, it's going to take you $50 million to get your product approved, or I should say invented, tested, approved in clinical study, and then, you know, that's kind of where you go with 50. And then if you actually want to go commercialize your product, you need another $50 million. Just to get in the game, hire a sales force, get distribution, create the infrastructure necessary to answer the phones, ship the product, you know, regulatory people, quality people, you know, on and on and on and on. It's very, very expensive to do business in our industry. And, you know, usually if you're going to generate $20 million of revenue in our business, it's going to cost you that year. You're probably going to spend $20 million in sales and marketing to get the first 20 million. So you almost buy the revenue, right? If you want to get to 50 million, it's probably going to cost you 50, 75, maybe $100 million to do that. So the best time to sell a company that you've been working on developing a product is before you ever ship the first commercial product. And this is my new thing, right? I mean, that's my main objective is if I'm going to get involved in a project early stage, I want to get it wired up so that, you know, we can actually get that company sold, you know, before you got to go out into the marketplace and do the really hard work, which is to try to sell stuff. I think the other issue that people in the medical device business, they don't maybe fully appreciate is that you want to be able to provide a solution where there is a need. Okay? You don't want to create a product where you have to teach people why they need it. Okay? And every cool product and solution that we have in medical fundamentally has come from physicians identifying the need. So it's really critically important to get the physicians involved in the mix to help have them identify what the problem is that you need to solve, or what the problems they have, and then come up with a solution for that. It's significantly easier to go about doing it. The Vesic story is there was a company that was around for about 6 years. Founder, they raised some money. They were going after a peripheral vascular application using RF energy to treat lesions in the legs. Got a clinical study going, but in the end, the clinical data didn't show that it was better than anything else. The investors got disillusioned. One particular VC had most of the shares and just decided that this was going in the wrong direction. The company was basically out of money. And so he asked me to do him a favor. This is my favorite part of the story. Could you do me a favor, Ray? And could you go down to this company in San Diego and fire the founder and CEO and as a first step, and then let go of all these people so that we could reduce the cash burn. And then could you in the next 30 days tell me whether we should just shut this thing down or not? So I bargained for 60 days. And then fired the CEO and did all that. We basically went out and I went out and I spoke to a number of key opinion leaders in the field, sat down with the physicians and said, look, here's what this basic technology does. What do you think we could do with it? And a number of ideas emerged, and the one that really resonated was this notion of renal denervation. This is a device treatment for hypertension. We were able to do some basic experiments to show that we had feasibility in terms of the technology. Went out, sold that story to investors, raised the capital, and then really focused on how we could create a commercial embodiment for the product that looked great. 3 or 4 months after we started on the project, Medtronic bought the people who had actually been the, let's say, pioneers in this field, and they bought them for $800 million. So that really helped focus our minds. So it's like, okay, these guys just got bought for a really big price, and their embodiment was horrible. I mean, cool technology. They worked on proving the clinical application, showing that blood pressure would go down based on this treatment, but the embodiment really was not good. And I spent a fair amount of time seeing procedures, watching procedures, looking at the product, how it was used, what the doctors were doing. We hired Karten Design. They went out and did some research, talked to people, where would this product live, how would they interface it with it, and so forth. and then ultimately, use that information to coalesce to create a product. And we did it in record speed. I think it was 18 months from the time that we started the engineering work until we exited the company. And the interesting thing is that this product actually is probably 98% exactly what it was that was envisioned at the time. And it really was a beautiful product and a beautiful project. And when it came time to sell the company, it was really interesting because the objective was to have a wow factor associated with the product. And everybody who ever saw that product who came in, the first thing they said was wow.
When you first go into a new company, how do you assess a product to say whether or not you think it's viable or not in the market? What's the process you go through?
Well, I think you got to dig. You got to dig into the market. You have to understand what are people doing today, right? So that's the key, right? What are people doing today, and how? What is innovative about this product? What problem does it solve? Does it save time? Does it reduce pain, or whatever the case might be? So I think that it starts with not getting focused on the actual embodiment of it as much as what is different and unique, what is novel about this device. Because if you don't have a novel device that adds something, then you're not going to be successful.
Where do you see the most potential in the future?
Anything that treats patients with congestive heart failure, stem cell therapies, all of these kind of using the materials that we have in our own body to heal ourselves. There is no doubt when we figure that out, that's going to be an explosion. Digital health, this is big. I mean, we're an organism that has all kinds of information emitting from us consistently, but yet we're not capturing that data, and we're not using that data to improve our health. And I think these technologies are going to be really big in the next, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But right now, those are ideas that are trying to find markets, and people have a lot of cool gadgets and stuff, but it's not connected. Where does the data go? What do you do with the data? How do you use it? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered in that space. Here's the big question I have to ask, and this gets back to yours. Okay, you've got this. If you can answer the question, so what? I got blah, 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 I give you blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what? What do I do with it? If you can answer that question, and it's a logical answer that's going to improve your health, or it's going to save money in the healthcare system, then you've got something. But if you tell me I'm predisposed for X, what am I going to do about it? Well, so what? What do I do with that information? So I think that's the so what question.
How much has the design of the product played a role in the success in turning it into a profit?
Personally, I believe that design is one of the single biggest value drivers. That ergonomics and how people use it, how they interface with the device, I think is critically important. I'm sure that my colleague Cohen would agree that the design of our product at Vesix, I mean, the return on our investment was amazing in terms of what we spent for good design and what we got out of it at the end. I think that it's one of the best investments you could make.